Welcome back to GeekSmart, ladies and gentlemen. This is another install video and tutorial on how to install a headliner kit on your Jeep Wrangler, in this case Wrangler Unlimited. Now mine's a 2012, it is a JK Wrangler. That's what this kit is actually designed for. But I actually spoke with Mark out at Hothead Headliners out of California and really wanted to showcase a really nice installed headliner kit in the Jeep. Now I'm going to be doing two videos. This is the install video, which is kind of the first video I'm creating. I'm also going to do a full review after constant use of it and see if I actually notice a substantial difference in heating, cooling, as well as sound. So those three things are all things that are going to change within the Jeep. And sound is not only road noise, but also sound from your actual speakers and everything in your vehicle. So noise from actually listening to the radio will change too, because you're going to have more absorption from the top. So supposedly it's going to help with all four of those. So pretty cool. I've already opened the box because it's going to do an unboxing, but within the kit you get install instructions, and all these items that are in this kit are things that you're going to use. I've already actually tapped something with the tape, so I'm going to tape this so I can't lose anything or without damaging the paper and ripping it to shreds. So, like I said, install instructions, which I'm going to set on the table over here. There is a, I wouldn't call it cardboard, but it's a fiber, like a hard cardboard. It's a firm board. Basically what you're going to use this is to push and then push your pressure out in a larger area so you don't dent the hardliner so much. But it's also going to put pressure on this adhesive tape that actually adheres to the actual top itself. You're going to need this. This is a piece of sandpaper. Now it is a coarser grit, so this is actually P100. That coarser grit is actually what's going to actually, we're going to basically take off a little bit or scrub up and rough up the actual head, top of the Jeep itself, the hard top itself. And there's specific locations you're going to do that. And then in here as well there is, oh, it looks like a business card, as well as a sticker. So those I'm going to keep in the bag. Last thing you're going to need, which I have over here, let me grab it. Last thing you're going to need is a couple cloths, which I haven't grabbed yet. Some acetone, because acetone is what you're going to use to actually clean off the top after you do the scrubbing with that sandpaper. So make sure you get yourself a little bit of that. That's a fresh bottle for me. And this is not necessary, but it is recommended, at least for me. And that is just some dust masks. Because when you're scrubbing that top, you're going to get really, really fine particles. Those fine particles are things that would be very easy to inhale. So that saves your lungs, right? So those would be the things that I would also add in there as well. But essentially I'm going to pop them out here. I'm going to get you a little closer, that way you can actually see me tear these out of the bag. I'll show you what I actually did earlier when I first opened it. The tape touched it and it ripped up. You'll see that in a second. Now first I want to apologize for any wind or car noise because it's windy out today. I've already done a video actually to demonstrate the sound in the Jeep without the headliner kit, but each of these headliner kits, for instance, this is going to be one of the Freedom panels, has 3M adhesive VHB tape. Now this tape adheres the best to a warm surface. In this case, it's still the end of winter, so it's not warm, it's not dead cold either. As you can see, the garage door is open, I'm just in a light jacket. But this 3M tape is what we're going to need to adhere to the top really good, hence the use of this cardboard. So once you have it attached, you basically push with this cardboard to basically squeeze this into the top the best you can. This VHB tape is a very sticky substance, and what you're trying to do by pushing is force that adhesive into every little nook and cranny in the top itself, which we're trying to knock down and create kind of with that sandpaper. So you can see that is one of the Freedom top panels, as is this guy here, so same thing there. And these are all designed specifically for the locations. Alright. We'll rip the plastic bag a little more so I can get these out easier. The nice thing about it is it's not just the top we're doing, we are also doing around the rearmost windows. The windows that are just the same as the top really. So these are all cut out specifically for the windows. So we'll place these over here as well. Then we got probably the back panel is what I would assume. This is back or mid-roof. Now the thing about this is you can tell exactly where this goes. It says front, this is the middle panel, and it says towards the front. So towards the front would be, if you're placing this up, this is going to face the front of the Jeep as you're pushing up. So that way it's all cut, and you'll see it'll actually fit perfectly. But that's a big thing. We want to make sure that this faces toward the front. And lastly, this should be the back panel. So rear panel, again, once you're facing it up, this will be towards the front of the Jeep. So I'm gonna get this stuff out of my way. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and work from there and prep the Jeep. We have the panels out. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna install them from front to rear. That's actually what Hothead Headliners they don't require it. They recommend you start from the front and work your way to the rear. There's no specific why, I guess. It's just kind of a pattern they do. But it does actually make why when we do the prep work, which I'm going to start next. All right, I'm going to demonstrate the process on my Freedom panel because I can take this out and show you exactly what we mean. Now, in the end, I'm actually going to do this in the Jeep because I actually have, well, you know, I'll basically do it all together. However, and maybe I could do the Freedom panels like this, but I want to show you this first. First, this is the actual panel itself. This is the Freedom panel. And as you'll see, this thing fits like a glove to the Jeep. I mean, it is just a perfect fit. If I have to say one thing about Hothead Headliners, man, are they exact in terms of their precision. So that's pretty awesome. So you can see here the tape. If I actually line it up here, this tape is actually going to line up with basically this edge here and almost on the center of this rib here. And what I mean by ribs, if you can see these indentations here, right there and right there, these obviously are set down, so you can't get anything to adhere to them with a flat surface. Now, the Sound Assassin actually would go in here if you ever actually got that. And if you're going to do the Sound Assassin, it's highly recommended to do that before you actually do these headliner kits, because once you install these headliner kits, if you were to remove them, you're actually going to have to replace this tape. Something most people are probably not going to want to do. So if you're going to do the Sound Assassin, do that first. That said, this process is going to go throughout the whole thing. So what I'm going to show you first, so I'm not going to, maybe you know what, I'll just do it. What we're going to do is these raised sections, in this case these two sections on the Freedom top, we're going to first take the sandpaper. You don't have to do too much, but basically we're roughing this guy up, right? And so right now we have it roughed up a little bit. Any of the raised sections, you know, especially where I know the guy's going to go. Now you can see it didn't really do anything to it. I didn't harm the top, but I'm roughing this up a little bit so I can actually adhere a lot better with the tape. I'm going to grab a microfiber cloth because I forgot to grab that, and I'll show you exactly what we got up on that. All right, I don't know if we're going to see it very well with this yellow. But yeah, you can. So you can see that, it's just a fine white dust. You know, that's the stuff you don't want to breathe in, right? You don't really want that. It's like a chalky dust. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and just wipe it off, get rid of that chalky dust. Now that's step one, is roughing the surface up. Now we're going to want to grab a cloth that we can actually soak in acetone, because what we're going to do with the acetone is clean up these areas so that the top sticks to it really well. We want to get all finger oils and everything like that. The acetone is basically going to completely get this ready. It dries fast, it gets all residues off and preps your project. So in that case, I'm going to grab a really nice cloth for my acetone. All right, so our next step that we're going to do is acetone, which I have a nice, actually a cleaned cloth. You don't want a cloth that you put any kind of, you know, if you washed it in the washing machine or anything, don't use fabric softener. But basically we're just going to go ahead and wipe this all down real good. Specifically where the tape's going to go. And I know basically where the tape's going to go from when I lined it up earlier. Alright. So now we got that. Now I put a decent amount on here because you're going to want it pretty wet, to be honest. All right, so I got the panel lined up. Now, this is going to be an optional step, but a step, if this is your first time doing this, might be your smart step. And that is, if you have some blue painter's tape laying around, another optional item to have, and this is a brand new roll, so of course I'm going to find this piece here. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to pick this back up. So find where that is, and then just put a small strip on the outside of the piece, and then right here. All right, so now, if I look from this side, I know that's my install points. That's my adhesive points, right? So if I put it down, that's where I want to put pressure here, and I'm going to want to put pressure right here. So yeah, now that we have the tape where the pressure is going to go, we're going to go ahead and just remove the backer strips. And these guys can be a pain sometimes, so just don't worry about that. Just take your time. And now, this is where you want to take your time, because you're going to want to make sure that you line it up properly. If you lightly do it, you know, in this case, I'm lining up this edge and the top, the bottom, and so I have this held up. So once I get that set down where I want it, it should just float down in there. Now, this is where you take that piece of hard press board, and we're going to basically go down this line here and this line here where those adhesives are. And you can start by sticking it right there. You can see where it's stuck. Now, I'm going to move this around and put some good pressure. And like I said before, this works better in warmer climates, so I've been told. However, in my case, it's colder out, and I'd rather have these installed. Now, what I might do is, once it gets warmer out, I'll probably go around the whole top one more time with this press board and just press it all down. And so you could choose to keep those on there, but to be honest, I would take them off no matter what. All right, now I feel good about it. It was good and pressed. I can remove these. And in the end, we're probably going to get some dust on here. Don't worry about it. This is just a fabric, a lint roller, which I'll show you later. I actually have a lint roller inside. I'll grab one of those. We should take any of this stuff off because it is just standard cloth. So really nice soft cloth, I will give it that. So that's the basic install procedure. Now we're going to do it on the rest of the Jeep while it's in there. We'll get some dust flowing around there. We'll have to get some dust on the furniture inside there, on the upholstery, but should be pretty easy to take off. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one reinstalled real quick, my Freedom Top panel, and then we're going to go ahead and continue. Okay, so now we are ready to do the prep on the rest of the Jeep. I have the first one installed. Now the benefit of installing this one on the ground is that you're not going to have all this dust floating around in here. However, the rest of these, you're going to install them, you're going to get some dust floating around. It's just something you got to deal with, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to get that mask on myself, so I'm not breathing in a whole bunch of it. It's not going to get too bad, to be honest, but better be safe than sorry. So we're going to work on these, the middle set and the last set, and then we'll use the acetone on it, and then we'll do a dry fitting. So I'm probably going to speed this process up, so I'm not really going to do a whole lot of talking, but we're going to do the same process we did on that one, all right? All right, masked up and ready to go. Here we go. And again, the same as the last one, we're going to work on the ridges. Don't worry about the insides unless you're doing the sound assassin. All right, so you can see me. If I was to make a recommendation, put on safety glasses or goggles would be better, actually. So we'll let that air out of hair. And I think I'm going to actually do what they recommend is take, if you have an air compressor, which I do right here, blow it out, which, why not? And then we'll take a microfiber cloth to clean it up a little bit before the acetone. So if you didn't notice before, one of the first things I did is I opened up all the doors. That way I got some natural airflow through Jeep, so all the dust wouldn't necessarily have to settle down and something. Now I have a lot of dog hair back here, so I gotta clean anyway. So, air. What we're gonna do is basically start from the front and push it out back, which means you're probably gonna get covered in it. But so be it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I should be done with that. I think if I would have done it again, I would have blown the top off first and then blown the Jeep out, which isn't a big deal, but they even recommended that. I just didn't do it. So if you have air compressor, you're gonna use it, blow the top off first, and that'll release all the dust that's kind of stuck on there. And there's gonna be still more up there, you'll see here in a second. Then blow the actual furniture out of your Jeep, all right? So I am going to blow myself off quick, and then I'll grab the rag and we'll wipe some more down. Before I go much further, I just want to say one other thing from a previous step when I took the air hose and blew out the Jeep. Definitely, in my opinion, the best way possible, because it got rid of most of the stuff that was in here. It's a very, very fine dust. It's very easy to move. Doesn't really stick to much. However, if you don't have an air compressor, take the cloth and wipe down the top real good. Then take another clean cloth and just kind of swat at all the stuff that's kind of in the Jeep. It'll kind of make a poof. I tested that on the front seat after I got done. There was more on the front seat. Works really good. So you don't have to use the air compressor. You can just do that as well. All right. So just as before, we're just going to take our clean microfiber cloth. Get it on my hand. And we're going to wipe down to try to get any remaining dust that we have in here, because the dust isn't going to allow the tape to stick. So it's just a, you know, a happenstance that you have any problems with this, but you want to get all the dust off. Just like Mark says, if you watch his video, which actually is a pretty good install video, to be honest, you can't overclean. You can underclean, but you can't overclean. So while I'm doing this, thanks Mark for some good tips, because it seems to make sense to me. All right, so we're just gonna clean this all up and go from there and work on the acetone. Now, first and foremost, now that we're inside the Jeep working with acetone, get the cloth wet. Don't allow it to drip into the interior. You're not gonna want acetone on your carpet, your upholstery, anything within your Jeep other than that plastic headliner, all right? So we're pouring the acetone outside of the Jeep. Step number one, get this guy good and wet so you can do quite a bit of work with it and work on the Jeep one step at a time. All right, now I'm gonna do actually 2 coats of this, because I'm basically gonna do 1 coat, then I'll work forward, do the whole Jeep, I'll come back and I'll do a 2nd coat. That's just because I want to make sure that it's good and clean. I don't want to worry about this thing falling off, especially doing this in a colder climate. Now, I did let the top warm up pretty good with the heater inside the Jeep, so that'll heat up the interior here, but taking as much time as it does to make this video, I'm sure this has gotten a lot cooler. So I'm gonna have to go back and press it on better after I get the Jeep heated back up again. So from me to you, that's what I will be doing. But I'm gonna try to mimic this. And every time you go from one area to another, add a little more acetone. So again, I'll speed this area up. And I'm happy with that. So let's go get our headliners prepped and we'll get ready to go. All right, we're gonna go back to the old motto, front to back. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to take this tape, my tape. Now this is, again, not a required step, but I thought it made so much sense to do it, so I decided to do it. In this case, I have 2 runs of tape, and so I'm going to line up the tape with the actual tape there. And now I know where to put a lot of pressure when I do these. All right, so I'm going to actually go ahead and prep all of them. That way I'm good to go. Let's see, get that. That one I don't have to because that's just pretty simple. Rear panel, I'm going to do them all in the back. So in this case I have quite a few more. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up as I do this, because you understand what I'm doing here at least. And then I'll come back to you when we're ready to put the first one in. All right. Set these guys off to the side. Now I'm sitting in the front seat, and we're going to take the same principles. I still have the tape on the actual piece. I'm just lining it up. I want to make sure where it goes, how it goes. I'm also going to double check my tape lineup, kind of see where it goes. All right, so it goes down the middle of this one, and again down the edge of that far guy. And I can see exactly how it fits. Fits perfect, just like the other side did. So I'm confident on everything. I know I cleaned it really good. I'm going to take off the tape backer, and again, I'm going to keep it at a slight angle so the tape doesn't touch, and I'm going to make sure it fits good. All right, line up the angles, and let's see here if I'm happy with that. I'm happy right there. All right, now I stuck it good. Now I'm going to go grab my cardboard and actually push it up. So now I'm pretty confident it's not going to go anywhere while I grab that. And since the front seat you can just sit and doing this, we're going to want as much pressure as possible, because now I'm pushing up, not pushing down. You're going to push yourself into the seat really good. As has been stated in other videos, don't do this, because you're not getting any pressure up there if you do this. That's not doing anything. Maybe if you had a roller and you could roll it, but you know, then you're squeezing this real good. This seems to, I guess, work really, really well. I can feel it stick. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I can hear it too. We're gonna just go over it a couple times to make sure that I pushed up hard enough. And again, in my case, once it warms up, I'm gonna go over them again. So I'll take off the tape and we'll go to the midsection. All right, so step open with these back panels. First, make sure you grab the right panel. This one says right on it, middle panel. It says where it points to the front, so that's gonna be like that. I'm gonna get underneath it. I'm gonna grab my cardboard too while I'm in here. Just got my cardboard. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm sitting up here, line it up. Now it's gonna go behind these speakers, or I guess between the top and the speakers. So we're gonna slide it up in there, and it's kind of like a practice run almost, right? So we'll see how well it goes up the way I have an idea to. And I don't know if that's gonna work so much, because it is wider than the roll bars. So I think what we have to do is actually come over this back roll bar. So let's do that. All right. This is why it's a trial and error item, right? It's exactly what you got to do. So once we have it up there, slide it until it sets into place. Now we can't see the front, so I have no idea what the front looks like. Let me turn those lights off. All right. I have no idea what the front looks like, and actually I don't care, because as long as I line up the sides, which I can see and touch, and the back, then the front should automatically line up, because these things are pretty awesome in their construction. So right here like that, it lines up perfectly. It lines up perfectly on the sides. Now I know that's my set standard right there. So what I'm gonna try to do, let me see here, I'm gonna roll it back. I think I can actually get to it right here. That way I don't have to take it all the way back off and then all the way back on and risk touching the adhesive to the bar, or the top between the bar and the top. So I'm gonna try that, because I can see it right here. It's actually not that difficult. Yep, pretty simple. All right, grab that one. These guys are set back a little ways, but they're still not hard to grab, to be honest. I'm gonna grab that one first this time. On this side, because that was the hardest one probably. And last one. And then double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of them are good to go. Also gonna see how they line up. Looks like they're almost right down the center of those. All right, so I got that out of my way. I got my cardboard. Now before you let it touch the top, get it into position. So the speakers will actually hold it. So let it go all the way up there. You can take your fingers, you don't have to see, and feel the outside edge to make sure it's lining up decently. About there, right there. Side to side, I'm perfect. Front to back, yep, that's it right there, I think. Right about there. All right. Double check it before I start doing. Oh yeah, she looks good. All right. Now, I'm going to show you a process. It's going to be the front and the back, because if I do everything from here, I'm only going to get so much pressure, right? So I'm going to back the camera up first before I do it. Now I'm hoping this works. So you can see it. What I'm going to do is going to basically be able to push with my right arm while I kind of lock the left arm. I can get a lot more pressure if I do something like that than if I sit up and try to do this, because you really, once you do it, it's crazy how much more pressure you can get doing this. Now essentially what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down all these. I'm going to force forward again here and get them all stuck real good. I'm probably going to go over them twice each. So we'll see in a minute. Woo! Almost sweaty work doing that, even in the not so hot weather. Take my little stickers off. I'm happy with that for now. Like I said again, I'm gonna go back to these later, especially once it warms up. All right, so now we're gonna do the back panel. Okay, not to sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna do it again. Have your cardboard ready, or your press board, whatever this is. Make sure that you have it face the right direction. The back panel facing toward the front, since that goes up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get it inside the back here, like this. And we're going to get it on top of the bar here. So while you're getting ready, that can hold it. And now you can see if it fits good. And you'll see exactly where it goes. So in this case, in the back here, I'm going to show you real quick if I can. Sorry if this is a terrible video part. But back here, you can see, top comes down, there's a lip. It does not go up to this lip, it goes all the way to the back, which is right, that one that goes vertically straight up. So we're gonna line it up with this back edge right here, okay? All right, so hopefully they can see that. You readjust the camera quick. Okay, now, so I'm going to double check this again. I'm against the back edge, good there. I feel awesome on the front edge, so I'm good to go. In this case, the best way to do this might be taking it out, placing it on the table. I'm going to actually, I just propped it on by my feet here. So I have it sitting here, and I'm just going to go ahead and take the adhesive tape off and get it up as fast as I can. This tape actually comes out better if you use your fingers, not your fingernails. Kind of sticks to the skin of your fingers. Maybe that's because I don't have great fingernails. Alright, so now we have the adhesive tape exposed. We're going to take our time, get it in the position, and now we're going to get it on top of the headliner again so we can get readjust yourself a little bit if you need to. And now we're going to get it onto the back, adjust it side to side. All right, so I'm up. It's press toward time, baby. And again, I did that just to hold it. I'm gonna do my fancy side elbow guy. All right, so I'm gonna back the camera up first. All right, here we go. Elbow down, push up. It is quite amazing how much more pressure you can get if you do it this way. And it's a lot more comfortable, I'll tell you that. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for constant, just point pressure, right? And that's, I mean, we're spreading that point pressure out to the size of the square, basically. And you can hear it, like, you can tell it right there. I have some that's not sticking quite yet. But then again, may just need to warm up. But, which, again, I will have to do once it warms up. I know I have to come back here and I know I have to do this again. Now you can reach even underneath the bar all the way to the front here, which make sure you do that because the tape almost goes to the edge. So you might as well just make sure you do it right. And like before, take off my cheat stickers. And I can hear that one over there. Maybe release a hair. I'm sure the top is not the warmest anymore after it's been sitting open for a while in here. Get enough grip right there to make sure it goes. Alright. And I'm good side to side, so. That does the install of the Hothead Headliner kit for the Jeep, in this case the JK 2012 Wrangler. And I gotta say it looks pretty sexy. So I'll show you some videos of the actual interior right now, alright? Pretty good looking. Definitely adds a little flair to it, you know? Looks good. And I think I'm gonna show you one other thing here real quick. Like I said earlier, what I was gonna do. So, if you got some dust on here, maybe dog hair, maybe you have a pet, maybe not from install, but from whatever, lint roller. It'll take anything that you can't get off with just a cloth or something. You know, this is just standard fabric, so you're not gonna hurt it, damage it at all, so don't worry about that. Now, removal of these guys, if you pull them off, you will not be able to reinstall them with the tape that's on there, like I said earlier. So if you're gonna remove them, you're gonna have to repurchase new 3M BHB tape, all right? Not the biggest deal in the world, but it's tape. It's a one-time use thing, especially if you want something that sticks as good as this stuff does. So that's the install video, and stay tuned for the review video because that will be actually my opinions on how well they work. This, based on the install, they fit perfectly. They really do. So kudos, definitely good job, guys. Fantastic product for install work. And how long it would take you to install? Probably, I mean, if you were pretty fast at it, like I think I was, I would say after you have everything prepped and ready to go, or everything out and ready to go, half hour or so, half hour, 45 minutes. Not too difficult, to be honest. Just a lot of pressing, which can tire your arm out if you're doing it non-stop. Now I was doing all camera work too, so yay. Now I get to try this thing out and see how she sounds. Sounds good. Okay, so we got the top completely done, and then I had to let my wife use the Jeep for a little while. So I'm back here, same day, just want to get the around the window piece done. Now, these two are the left and right are very similar, except for they do slant, so there is a difference. You can see that there is a difference. However, the easy way to tell which one goes where, and I would definitely find out which one goes where before you go for it. There's a thicker part and a thinner part, and then a thicker part and a thinner part. Thinner part goes toward the rear, thicker part goes towards the front and the bottom, I guess, too. So now these are different. These don't use the same 3M tape, the VHB tape that the headliners use. These actually use Velcro. So it's just an adhered Velcro, which is going to be a different adhesive, which in this case, we don't have to use the sandpaper and rough it up, which is why I kind of separated these completely out from each other. So all you need for this is just the acetone part. And what we're going to basically do is go around the window, get the acetone on there, get it cleaned up real good. And then after that's done, basically release the backing of the Velcro. We'll double check it. Then release the backing of the Velcro, stick into position. And in this case, you can't use the cardboard because there's not a big enough space. You just have to kind of go through it and push it real good. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to fast forward this part again. Clean it up real good because you've already seen how we cleaned it up. And from there, we'll put it in place. All right, here we go. Now, while I'm not going to be on video for this one, I'm just going to clean up the other side so we can just go right into getting both of them put up. All right? Sounds good. All right, so let's go ahead and test fit. Then come from the back kind of like that and bend it around. Holy cow, does that fit good? Jeez. There, I still got one of those in there. Let's see if I come from the front, if it's the same. Boy, it fits so good, it doesn't want to come out. Alright, so if I come from the front, actually that's probably going to be easier is to come from the front when you unstick the stuff. Get the bottom in. You'll want to get the bottom in first because of these bolts back down here. Then lean it in like that. But man, does that fit good. Alright, I'll pull that out. So just like before, we have everything good to go. Velcro is sitting here, ready to roll. We got little pieces where it's stuck on there, so we're just going to go ahead and remove the tape, as we always do, right? Different tape though. There we go. Oh, maybe not. There we are. It's definitely a little bit different than the 3M tape. I can definitely tell. I can see why they switched to the 3M tape for the roof panels, because it's definitely a different type. So, all right. Now, don't touch anything until it gets up there. So, all right. So we're gonna go in from the back, taking our time, right? Moving into position. Bottom in. Then this is where you're gonna want to make sure it lines up properly before you start sticking it. God, that fits like a glove. It's crazy. All right. Now on this, we're just gonna work it around. And again, because of the temperature outside here, I'm gonna come back when it gets warmer, and that's when I'll hit it again. But makes it look really good. So I'll switch the camera. We'll do the other side quick. Why not? So I've already test fitted it. I'm just gonna go ahead and unstick and put it in place. All right, and just as before, wrap a Look around, and good. Now these aren't, holding verticals from falling, so even if you don't get as good adhesion, which is why the Velcro tape probably works just as good as anything else, because it's already just vertical, it's not going to just fall out unless it really let loose or you really hit something hard. So I apologize if the video is darker because it is completely night outside now, and wanted to get it done before it got dark, but unfortunately I couldn't. But this was the easier one, so it's not that big of a deal. If you have any questions, just let me know. But that is that. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said a couple times, in the description will be all the links to where you can find these guys, where you can purchase them, where you can find out all sorts of information on them. And if you have any questions that I can't answer, or if you want to directly answer or ask right to the company, that will be in the links below as well. All right. But in all reality, very easy to install. Take your time. When I first started, I was like, oh, do I really want to sand that? You couldn't tell I sanded it if you wanted to, unless maybe you got a microscope out. But from looking at it, even if I was to rip these down and I didn't want them up there anymore, you probably couldn't tell I sanded them. So that if that's your worry, don't worry about that side. I used about half of that small bottle of acetone in total, which you probably could use more if you really wanted to just make sure it was ultimately amazingly clean. I think about half probably was about right, in my opinion. I went over each twice, some even off camera a little bit just to make sure. But they're a good product. They fit like perfectly. It's kind of crazy that they have that exact fit to everything. So it is amazing. We've had it on. I mean, the headliners have been up there now for a couple hours, and sound wise, I wasn't a holy cow difference. It was noticeable. I noticed it, and especially with sound from the music, from the actual radio itself, I noticed that as well. So that'll be in the review, and I'll link that description when I actually have the review done. But I want to say thanks to Mark at Hothead Headliners for letting me do this video for you guys, because without him, I wouldn't probably have these to do this video. So thanks, Mark. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post those below, and I'll definitely hit you up. Like, subscribe, comment on the video. Check us out, getgeeksmart.com, and GeekSmart basically everywhere else. So if you have anything else that you want to add, let us know. Post it below. Otherwise, stay tuned for the review, and check back to my channel here, because I'll have a lot more Jeep accessories coming soon, actually, because I have a few in my house that I gotta get on this puppy, and yeah, you guys might enjoy them. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we will catch you on the next video.